Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stock Talk Thursday. My name is David Verbruggen. I'm coming to you pre-recorded today for this episode of Stock Talk Thursday. Got a lot to talk about what's going on in the market, what's going on in the world. And without further ado, let's just jump right in here. Let's take a look and see what the overall market has been doing. And we'll just go from there. We'll then hit what has been hot and not last week, and then we'll see what is hot and not this week. So as you can see here from our chart, last week, Thursday, we had this major candlestick here. This, of course, was on the first day of the invasion of Ukraine. And so the market had gapped down quite a bit, but then rallied, came back up. So it made a lower low. So from a technical aspect, you're seeing just a lower low and then moving back up. And we're closing in on this downtrending resistance line. So there's still the potential that it continues up a little bit, but then the probability that it starts to move back down again. So, from a technical aspect, it seems more and more like we are starting to form a downtrend in the overall market. Obviously, the market tone aspect is just heavily weighted news-wise with what's going on in Ukraine. As I've been saying the last several weeks, we are in a squirrel market, and we definitely still are in that squirrel market, just because things are very volatile right now, and with what's going on in the world, anything can happen. There's very little of an edge right now as far as the market tone goes. Well, let's take a look and see what was hot last week and what was not last week, and how those stocks are faring right now. So last week we looked at SJI, South Jersey Industries. That was the hot one, and take a look at that. I put this line right here, and if we back up, here we go. That line had some historical resistance back in 2019, 2020, and that's where that stock had moved right up to it, gapped up on a good earnings report, and then held right there at about the $33 mark. But then the next few days, it definitely moved up. So South Jersey Industries still showing to be extremely hot. Oftentimes, when there's a major move in one direction, it tends to correct back the other direction and kind of revert back to the mean. But when it chooses not to do so, in this case, in the bullish direction, it shows exactly how hot that stock is. So SJI still showing to be quite hot. YNDX was our stock that was not hot. YNDX had some, it had to just, you can see the recording from last week, but it had to do with Russian investments and everything. And obviously they got hammered when the invasion happened, and they haven't really improved. So they actually are not looking good at all right now. And that's nothing more to say on YNDX. They're not going up. They are definitely still not hot. All right, well, let's take a look at what is hot this week. And we can go right back through here, take a look at the last week. It might be interesting to think, with everything that's going on in the world, what is actually hot? What is going well? Well, this is kind of it looks like most industries are doing well this last week, but the reality is, we gapped down so far at the Thursday last week that since we have moved up a little bit, it looks like everything is hot. But there definitely still is this one, industry, energy, that is hot. And so that's where we're going to find our hot stock again. And, you may be thinking, man, energy just keeps winning out so many of the times. Well, that's saying something. The energy industry is hot overall. And there's a ton of hot stocks within the energy industry. So we're going to go ahead and find which one is the hottest. And, you've got Chevron in there, 15% increase in the last week. It's pretty good. Exxon 6%, got 11, 6. But the one that I found that was the most was Occidental Petroleum Corporation. That's what we're going to take a look at here. Up 23.5% in just the last week. So we take a closer look at what is going on here. And look at that. The last week, I mean, major candlesticks moving up here in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have a little bit of resting going on, which is honestly expected. It could very well, find some support at an exponential moving average and start to move up again. But after a couple really big days up, it's just normal for a stock like that to pull back a little bit and essentially take a rest. Almost think about it like if you're going to go climb a mountain, and stock in the same way, it needs to take a rest once in a while, and maybe it wants to even go downhill a little bit just to recover a little bit. So that is Oxy. We look more at this, and let's look back at this, right? So let's do a 3-year history. Let's see exactly how hot this stock is. So back towards the end of 2020, the stock was down here, just below $10, like $9.14 a share kind of thing, and has moved up. We could even go ahead and throw an uptrend line on here. Look at that. It's pretty good on the weekly chart right there. And right now we're up at $48. So it's almost, it's basically 5-fold increase in the last year and a half. So that's pretty major. And I'll zoom back in here again, and we take a look at, where it was at the end of December. And we're up 25%, or I'm sorry, it's nearly doubled since the end of December. And just this last week alone, we're up nearly 25%. So lots of growth going on there. Occidental Petroleum, obviously very hot. It's one of the hottest stocks right now in the hottest industry within the stock market. So that's a great way to find what is a hot stock. You just go to what is the hottest industry, and then what is the hottest stock within that industry. Well, let's take a look at what is not hot this week. And we come to EPAM Systems. There's a lot going on here. You can see almost like this triple top that was formed back towards the end of last year, up at nearly $700 a share. Actually, not nearly. It was a little over $700 a share at its peak there. And then started moving down pretty dramatically here. The 20-day showing to be resistance in this area before some major drop-offs. And, it got down all the way below $200 a share. So, you run the math on that. That's a pretty big drop in just the matter of a couple months. So what is going on here, especially what is up with this candle? This major candle was on Monday. You look at earnings reports have been good. We can look at the whole year. Solid green, earnings boxes. So the earnings reports have been great. Technically, you can see this M right here, and the definite follow through, little kiss goodbye action, and then some more down movement. But again, let's bring it back to this major candlestick, which caught my eye on Monday. And as soon as I saw that candle, I was like, that's the one. That's our not hot stock. We need to talk about this one. So here's what's going on. They had a great earnings report. And if you remember, the earnings report really has two parts. It has, how well did we do, and what are we forecasting we're going to do in the next quarter. So it's those two things that kind of go together. And they did well, and they forecasted whatever it was they forecasted, but then they changed their forecast on Monday, and that's what brought the stock price down. So it was literally due to military actions in Ukraine. EPAM was withdrawing its financial forecast for the first quarter of 2022. Like, wow, okay. So I mean, this is a war and it's terrible, but it's on the other side of the world. How is that affecting this stock right here? Well, you dig into EPAM systems a little bit, and you come to find out that they're an IT service provider, and they service a lot of Central and Eastern Europe. So the majority of their business is in the location where this new war is now happening. Obviously, that's going to have massive impact and ramifications on your business. And so they're looking at this first quarter projection that they had, and it has all changed. As soon as this war broke out, everything changed. So they're retracting their financial forecast. So that, of course, is going to make investors nervous. Like, what is going to happen? I mean, if it's that bad that they have to retract what they said, the news obviously can't be good, and the market has reacted in that way here. And it has pulled up a little bit now, but it definitely has not been coming all the way back to where it has. So EPAM, definitely our not hot stock of the week. All right. A couple things I want to let you know about. If you want to learn more about, how to trade in the stock market, how we can take advantage of the volatility, because there's a lot of volatility, which a lot of people shy away from. But honestly, there can be a lot of good things that can come from the volatility if we know how to use that to our advantage, not in a bad way, but in just a way to, provide for our family, have more resources to do good around the world, to donate, even in the situation with Ukraine. If we have those resources, we have the potential to do a lot of good. And volatility in the market can help us gain those resources if you have the right skills. So if you'd love to learn more about that, feel free to email us at support@tradeway.com. Again, that's support@tradeway.com. We'd love to get information to you so you know how to trade in the stock market and develop that skill. One last thing I want to also let you know about is we have our Word on Investing Summit coming up April 22nd and 23rd. The theme this year is going to be money, faith, mindset. We're going to have speakers like David Mitchell himself, who started Tradeway, also Myron Golden. I know several of you have heard Myron speak and love to hear what he has to say. Word on Investing, it's exactly what it sounds like, right? Like, what does the Word, the Bible, have to say about investing? And so we're going to dive into that. It's pretty deep dive into what the Word says on investing and how we can use that and apply that to our lives. So feel free to check that out. You can see the little banner rolling down at the bottom, how to register for the Word on Investing Summit, tradeway.com/events page. So feel free to check that out. Love for you to be a part of that. That'll wrap it up for this week's Stock Talk Thursday. Next week, again, we'll revisit those two stocks that were hot and not this week, and then we'll find a couple others that are hot and not. And be praying for Ukraine. That was the last thing on my list. Be praying for Ukraine because it's that important. So thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.